Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com, and this video is about Facebook advertising. Specifically, we're going to talk about audience size. Now, since my last video and in comments I've received kind of over the months for sure, one of the big questions is, Miles, what's the best audience size, or what audience size are you targeting? So I want to answer that, and I want to frame that in a way that's going to help you move forward with confidence in your Facebook advertising. Now, a quick note before we get into this, I generally run conversion campaigns focused at the lead level with one interest per ad set, and I put lots of different ad sets, meaning lots of different interests, individually into one big campaign. So it's one campaign, lots of different interests. And then the big question comes up, Miles, what is the best audience size? And for me, here's my real, true, honest answer. I don't care anymore. I used to care, and I used to focus on audience size. But at this point, to me, relevance of that audience to what I'm offering is by far the most important factor. Now, in the last video, two and a half days ago, I launched, I believe, 46 different ad sets. And at this point, I've turned several of them off. They're all generating leads right now. I'm getting an average of 75 or 76% cost per leads with the ad sets that are still running. I've turned off the ones that have delivered me $2 and $3 leads. And I went in and looked, I didn't look at all of them, but I went in and looked at several of those different ad sets to see how big are these audiences. And the biggest range I was able to find from looking is the smallest one I found so far was 27,000 people in that audience. That was generating leads below the 75-cent number, and I have one audience that's like 1.2 million. Again, I didn't look at all of them. I could easily have smaller audiences and bigger audiences, but my assumption is that at least 20 to 30% of my audiences are lower than 100,000 people in the audience. Now, it sounds like there's some experts or fake gurus out there touting that you need a 250,000 audience or bigger or else blah, blah, blah. My data does not reflect that. And here's the reason, right? If there's a group of people, a small, hyper-targeted group of people interested in what you do, you need to make sure your advertisement is showing up in front of them regardless of how large that group of people are, specifically when they're hyper-targeted, right? Like, I'm never going to pass on an audience, and I'm never going to say, ooh, I don't want to show my ads to this audience that would be great for me because there's not enough people there. That would be shooting myself in the foot. The audience size data, all that really does is it maxes out how high I'm willing to scale that daily budget. My rule of thumb is $1 per 1,000 people. So this 27,000 person audience, the highest I would ever really take that audience is $25 or $27 per day. And I would keep an eye on the frequency if I got it up that high. But I'm only increasing my budget if I'm proving over time that it drives break even or cash flow positive customers, because that's my ultimate goal here. So really, I don't pay attention at all to audience size. I don't care if it's a big audience or a little audience. What do I care about? I care about, number one, what is my cost per lead from this audience segment? Is it within my historical KPI range, which is about 80 cents per lead? I'm super comfortable with. I prefer 60-cent leads. I'm comfortable up at 80-cent leads. Then number two, if I am getting leads that much, am I getting customers within my new customer KPI? How do I know my new customer KPI? Well, I've added up all of the different sales that I've made, my OTO and my one-click upsell. I've divided that by how many customers I brought in from my Facebook funnels, and there is my average new customer value. Now, I know that my lifetime customer value, right, like over the course of the lifetime of a customer, is well over $100. So no matter what range I'm in here, whether I'm break even, a little cash flow negative, a little cash flow positive, since I know my numbers, I'm comfortable with the results because I know long term I'm good, and I'm in a financial situation to be able to put my money out on the line for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month if I need. With that said, my goal is always to be break even at the front or better, because I do want to put more money into advertising, not less. And the quicker I see a return on that advertising investment, the quicker I'm able to scale and put more money in, generating more leads, generating more customers. And it creates this kind of upward spiral in my business that my revenue numbers don't really change, right? I'm dumping everything I make right back into ads, but the number of leads coming in goes up, the number of customers coming in goes up. That's what I'm after, because that's the long-term game that I'm playing. So if you've been wondering, what is the best audience size for Facebook pay-per-click audiences, know that my personal take is it's irrelevant. The most important thing for you to focus on with your audiences is how targeted they are. How relevant is that audience and that audience's needs, desires, goals, challenges, problems, etc. How relevant is that to what you offer? If it's hyper-targeted and hyper-relevant, go after it with a $5 a day ad set, see what happens. Monitor your cost per lead, monitor your cost per new customer acquisition. If the numbers work, great, keep it going. If the numbers are excellent, scale it. Start adding a little bit more money to that ad set. If your numbers are absolute shit, turn it off. Go back to the drawing board. I have found that right now, it's interesting, I just turned off two ad sets because the cost per leads were so out of whack. It was like $2, $2.50 per lead. This exact same ad set 2 weeks ago was delivering me 60 and 70 cent leads. So for some reason, I don't know if a new advertiser moved into the space. I don't know what it is. I don't really care what it is, to be honest with you. The numbers are saying that right now this ad set is not fiscally viable, so it's out, and I'm focusing my budget on the ones that are proving to be fiscally viable. At some point in the future, I'm going to try to rerun ads to that ad set that I just turned off. I might try new ad copy. I might simply try again in 2 or 3 weeks or at the end of the month. I don't know if that plays into it. I don't really care. This is how I approach the game. Is this the only way to run Facebook ads? Obviously, the answer to that is no. The ultimate answer is it depends, but I didn't want to give you that shitty answer because you can find experts who are going to teach you, here's the exact way to do it. You have to have at least, they give these hard set rules of like 250,000 is the absolute minimum audience, but you're always going to be able to find there's enough scenarios, there's enough ways to run ads on Facebook that there's exceptions to every rule. But my basic rule, and this is a bigger overarching philosophy, I want my advertisements to show in front of the most relevant and hyper-targeted audience possible. I don't care how big or small that audience is. I care more about the relevance because it's that relevance that gets that audience interested in my free offer, my OTO, and my one-click upsell and my future offers. If there's no relevance between what I'm offering, what I'm doing, and the problems and life goals and challenges that that audience have, if there's no relevance there, there's no way I'm going to be long-term profitable, whether it's a big audience or a small audience. So my take on the whole situation is focus on relevance more than audience size. The only thing audience size is going to do is be more of a kind of a metric that you're going to follow on how big can I scale this. So like a 5,000 person audience, which would be absolutely tiny. You could do $5 a day, 25,000 person audience, $25 a day, 100,000 audience, $100 a day, million audience, you could get up to $1,000 per day, but go incrementally, go slow, increasing your bids, and only increase the amount you're willing to spend on an ad set based on ad sets that are giving you leads and customers at break even or cash flow positive or better, because that is how you grow a business without having to go out of pocket with your ad spend. And that is how, and then dumping that, any extra you get back in from those ads, dumping that right back into your ads to get more and more leads and more customers. That's the real front end game. And again, all the pros are focused on the back end of the funnel. They're focused on the lifetime value. They're focused on the upsells. They're focused on selling more higher ticket products to their current customer base, because it is easier to sell more to your current customers than it is to go get new customers. So that's how the game works, right? We set up a system on the front end that's going to take cold traffic from Facebook, turn them into leads and customers at break even or better, and we make all of our money selling higher end, more valuable products to our current customer base. That's the game right there in a nutshell. And that's why I don't really care about audience size in Facebook advertising. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up here. If it helped clarify something, I'm happy to hear that. If you have questions for me, hit me in the comments below. I'm happy to answer as best I can. If you have not yet subscribed, click the little subscribe button. I do appreciate the subscribes. I appreciate the comments and the likes and the thumbs ups. If you want to share this with people, feel free to share it. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next video.